So,
bear with me.
welcome to part 2. I'm not going to do an introduction because you watched part 1 most likely. And if you didn't, make sure to click here or up at the title card. Here. Fuck. Here. The title card will appear right here. And if I'm too lazy to put in the video, check the title card right there.
It'll pop
Or
in
the description
it
down
pops
below.
in there and it's like...
Yeah. Or check the description down below. So day 8 was Disney Day, so we went to Disneyland all day.
Which, this is like before you went to Japan things, because you were talking about, what was the other place that you guys were debating
Disney
going to?
Sea, which is actually right next to Disneyland. Do you want me to talk about the difference?
Yes.
Is that what you're asking?
Why don't you start first? Why don't you start on that, and then I'll get to what I was going to say.
So Disney Sea is almost like a place that is like a licensed Disney location. Like somebody has the Disney license, but they don't really fully, I guess, use it, because a lot of these rides are Disney themed, but a lot of the rides aren't actually able to be found anywhere else, or they're inspirations of other rides. And a lot of the mascots that are used are actually not what you would usually think. Like there's I don't know what the name of the character is, but Mickey Mouse's teddy bear is the main mascot. It's actually not Mickey Mouse. Mickey Mouse does show up, but his teddy bear and his friend and the teddy bear's friends are the people that show up more often. I forget the name of the teddy bear, but that's the main difference. So what were you going to say?
Well, so my favorite thing is you when you were talking to me, you're like, I kind of wanted to go to Disney Sea though, because it would have been, because it's completely unique to there, where Disneyland there is kind of the same. And I was like, well, I don't know, because I've never been to any Disneyland or World or whatever. So to me, they're all new. It would all be new to me.
I've never been to Disneyland. I went to Disney World when I was like 2, but I don't remember any of it. So pretty much both of them are new to me.
I mean, yeah, it was just, I understood what you meant.
Yeah.
And because you could go to Disneyland in California, and you could go to this one, and I'm sure there's plenty of differences. I'm sure there's plenty of similarities though at the same time.
Yeah.
Where that is completely unique. Like, you're not going to go to a Disney place that's going to feature his teddy bear. But I just thought somewhat it was funny.
Yeah, it's definitely a first world problem. I don't know which Disney resort to go to.
I feel it's just like I want to go to this other Disney resort. I have to settle for the other Disney resort. Oh.
So it was about a 1-hour train ride, which is a pretty long train ride, but what are you gonna do? So we were there the whole day. So we were there till 8:30, which means we had dinner there as well. I don't really want to talk much about Disneyland because it's Disneyland. All the rides there are pretty much the same, with the exception of like 1 or 2. One of them being Pooh's Magical Storybook, which was long the entire day. Long lines the entire day. You sit on like a honey pot, and you pretty much the entrance is like a giant Winnie the Pooh book. It was really cool, and I would have liked to go on it, but it was just with time. It would have been like a 2-hour. It was like a 2-hour wait at minimum, and like a 4-hour wait, for just busy times. So, and this was on a Tuesday, so it wasn't even busy that day.
Ouch.
So it's basically you sit on a honey pot and you go through a Winnie the Pooh story. So I thought that was pretty cool.
That would have been cool. Although it might have been in Japanese.
Yeah.
So it would have been a bit hard to understand the story.
We went to the Haunted Mansion, and that was all in Japanese.
Yeah.
And we went to also the Nikki's feeler magic or whatever. It's like a theater experience with a cartoon, but it's like a 4D experience. So you get 3D glasses, and then they spray scents at you. So when they went in Beauty and the Beast, they sprayed food smells at us.
See, I'm guessing this one didn't include the new Star Wars attractions that new Disneylands are adding.
No, it had Star Tours. Well, Star Tours is old, but it updated Star Tours for the new movie.
Oh, for Star Wars?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Star Tours is always Star Tours used to be just this galactic space thing, but they updated it for the new Star Wars movie.
Well, yeah, now Disneylands are including
Star Wars,
a bunch of Star Wars stuff. Stormtroopers walk around now.
Disney World is actually making an entire Star Wars theme park.
That I do know.
So,
yes.
But anyway,
that's American problems or things, I guess.
So the one story I want to tell about from Disneyland is when I was on Splash Mountain. Did I tell you about this?
No, you didn't.
It's a really good story.
Oh no.
So me and 2 other my friends, we were in a group of we actually had half the group with us, and then the other half were split into groups of 3. So we had about We had like 6 of us, and like over half of them in our group didn't want to like be there till 8:30. And I kind of did at first too because I wanted to do laundry because we actually didn't bring enough clothes for 2 weeks because we had laundry machines. But then I kind of realized, hey, wait, I'm in Disneyland and in Japan. What the fuck? And then I was like, so everybody else was part of the Grump Squad, as we called it, and me and 2 other people wanted to go on Splash Mountain really bad. So the way that Splash Mountain works is that you could wait in line for 3 hours, and be with your friends, or you could be a single, which is a filler. So if there's ever like a group of people that have an odd number, you get to go in that seat. So we skipped the entire fucking line, 2 hour wait, and we got on the ride in 10 minutes. And then here's where it comes in. It was who I was with. So there was a school group there that day, and I was with 3 Japanese middle school boys. It was like they start asking me. They're like, they start using their English because like a lot of Japanese people try to use your English on you, and I will get to that in the.
Kyoto?
I think it's either the next one or the day after that. So I'll figure it out. I think it's the day after, the next day. So I'm with these 3 middle school kids, like literally so they start asking me. They're like touring, and I was like, at first they asked me Japanese, like they asked me if like I speak Japanese, and I said Sukoshi, which means a little bit, or like a little, or not much.
Yeah.
So they start asking me questions in English, like tourist, and all this. And one of them hits me and like puts my hand in the air. And if you've ever been on Splash Mountain, it's not like a roller coaster. It's actually like a 10-minute water ride with like one small drop and then one big drop at the end. So like they had me have my hands up like almost the entire time, just going through this like water ride with like singing animals and shit. Like they kept trying, they were doing it too. So like I wasn't alone. And then they kept asking me questions like family. Like they asked me if I was with my family. I was like, it's like no. Like I said university, and they're like university student. I was like hi, like because I was trying to
yeah, you want to meet the middle ground essentially as much as you can.
And then they asked me age, and I said Niju Ichi, which means 21. And they're like, oh sugoi, like they thought it was the coolest thing that I was 21 years old, or they thought it was the coolest thing that I could reply to them in Japanese. I
think it's a little bit of both.
I think it was a little bit of. So they were like, oh yes, sugoi, and like they're like you cool
you cool.
And we went down the drop, and they had me put my hands up again, and then we all got like soaked, and it was
every time were they like tapping you on the arm?
Yeah, they like tap me, and they would be like that was the funniest moment at Disneyland. So
that's pretty cute.
And then the next day is Kamakura, which we went to Kamakura. Hold on.
Well, I was gonna say, I think most of the times when I think of middle schoolers, I think of like if I think of most middle schoolers, they probably would not be like awesome, like super like put your hands up, like
they'd be
trying
all,
to
like,
do like
lame.
these cute things. Yeah, like oh, it's so lame.
Actually, when on our way out, we had like a friend of mine asked by a group of middle schoolers for a picture, and then I did as well. Get asked for a picture. So
I will say, I do think though what I probably could expect is if like a bunch of middle schoolers went to a foreigner, they would like some of them I could see asking questions and being like awesome,
yeah,
which is the sugoi, like when they're like sugoi.
Yeah. So the next day was Kamakura, which is a 1.5 hour train ride. This is an area in like it wasn't really in the Tokyo area, but it was like in that central area, and it was very rural area. Very much what you think when you think of like traditional Japan. It's a very very narrow streets, a lot of houses around. We went to a beach.
Ooh.
I think we went to. I don't know if we went to the beach first or the first temple first. I think we went to the first temple first.
I wouldn't know if that's in order or not. So
I don't think it is actually in order.
I imagine not.
I think we did go to the beach first. We were at the beach for like an hour, or half an hour, which is kind of boring because like I didn't want to go in the water because I will get to that because we were meeting somebody. We were meeting with college students later. I didn't want to smell like seawater.
I guess.
So I didn't want to do that. Plus, there's nothing to wash your feet off of, and I had socks on, and I didn't want to have to put sandy feet in socks.
Yes.
So I just walked around the beach and I took pictures, and it was fun.
Okay.
And then we had a vegetarian lunch, which was actually excellent. It was like a taco. It was supposed to taste like taco meat, and it was actually soy meat. Rice with hemp, which is good for your digestive system. Not a laxative, but just good for your digestive system.
Oh, what a dream.
And then we went to the hydrangea temple, which is really cool. This was the day when it started getting really hot.
Ooh.
It was really humid that day. And the temples were really cool. Nothing to really say about the hydrangea temple except it was a really cool walk. There was a little cave in there, and I stood in there for a while because it was really cold in there. And then we went to the Tokuen temple, which is the shrine. I don't know if it's a shrine or a temple. And this is where the giant Buddha statue is, and you can actually pay 5 yen to go inside the Buddha statue.
Oh, really?
And it's really cool. It was really hot in there and really cramped because it's like a brass Buddha.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of people in there. So I went in there, and then I was like, I'm just going to sit. So I really didn't walk around that shrine that much.
Oh, yeah.
So,
I think when you see the big Buddha, I think you've seen most of what there is to see there.
Yeah.
Most likely.
So then the next thing we did is we went to... Actually, after this, then, we went... That's when we started walking towards the Keio University, which is the university students that we met on the trip.
Yeah.
And a fun story with this one. Buckle in. So we went to dinner with about 11 students. 2 of us met us there on campus. One of which is somebody I'm still in contact with. He's a really nice guy. He was hilarious. Absolutely love the dude. He's so funny, making fun of me the entire time, roasting me, using sarcasm against me. It was because I don't expect Japanese people to understand the concept of sarcasm, but I think he did.
Well, did he? I mean, I imagine sarcasm is somewhat of a universal language. No matter, I think it crosses all borders almost. Just it seems different. I think the way it's styled is different. Yeah. But was he speaking a lot of English?
Yeah, they all are fluent they were all fluent in English that were there.
That's really good.
So but we were told to not speak very fast, not not talk down to them how are you, but try to talk slower and pronounce our words better.
I was gonna say not being me.
Yeah, not being hey, what's going on? How are you doing? You be hey, how are you doing? Pretty much how I talk anyway.
Yeah, but when I get if I get really excited about things, I know
fast.
I talk really fast. And especially the faster I talk, because if I'm not thinking about it, then it's not clear.
Yeah.
Generally, I'm pretty clear when I'm a little bit faster, which I think helps some people understand me more, but they probably would not.
Yeah.
I would feel bad for them.
So this is where the story comes from. The story. This is probably the story that I will remember for the rest of my life. Because it was the one time I've been this is the most embarrassed I've ever been.
Oh boy.
In my entire life.
Do I know this story yet?
Yeah, I told you.
Okay, I'm trying to... I'll remember which one it is.
We were at the izakaya with these students. It was 2 hours, all you can eat, all you can drink. And... that's all you needed to know. Yeah. And emphasis on the all you can drink part, because I took advantage of that.
I would too.
I am not trying to be pure on this channel. I admit when I drink alcohol, and I did drink alcohol. I think our table drank more alcohol than everybody else combined.
Well, it's because you may drink, but it is responsible.
It is responsible.
You can drink a lot and still drink responsibly. It's because it's what you do.
Yeah. I will say that I didn't get drunk, not really drunk. I probably was a little bit, but not like super drunk where I was stumbling over myself.
I'll have to tell you something later. I just had to make a mental note of that.
So, my Japanese teacher, she really likes to drink, a lot. So she was at my table, so I was already pressured to drink a lot.
I'm really happy that I know that about her now.
It was commonly known. She ordered a beer this big.
Yeah, I've heard stories from I had for one of my judges from when I was a coach. he was telling me how he had to go to Japan for a business trip.
They drink a lot
And
there.
yeah, so like, because he would after working, they would all go to drinks.
Yep, that's like a thing you do.
And he was telling me what they did, what the bartender did there was like, yeah, like the second somebody's thing was empty,
Yep,
another one.
Yep, because like yeah, that's how you do it there. So we toasted and all that, but she upgraded her, like, because you usually toast in a glass this big of beer. She upgraded to one this big.
What do you say for cheers?
Kampai.
Yeah. Kampai, that's right. You're not going to say
I'll
itadakimasu?
No, you don't say itadakimasu. But I will have to tell you a story later that is not going to... Because in case if anybody ever finds this that went on the trip, I don't want anybody to get in trouble. Okay. So I will tell the story to him later, but you guys won't know. I'm going to make you guys feel so bad now. But it's not anything major. You'd only be able to understand it like if you knew somebody on the trip.
But the story you can tell.
I can tell. So there's this ongoing joke, that was made by a lot of people before I went on the trip, and a lot of people. It continued with people during the trip that what was going to happen on the trip is that I was going to find my Japanese wife and I wasn't going to come back. So that joke continued.
That dual citizenship.
Yeah. So that joke continued on to my group that went with me, and they were like, "Man, this is gonna be your night. You're gonna find the girl of your dreams." And I was like, "Yeah!" Like I was going along with it because like
haha,
because haha, really funny.
Yeah.
So like I was because it was me and that one guy, and then everybody else at our table was part of our school or our group because we had one of the filmers with us because we had people filming us from our school.
Oh, interesting. I actually didn't know that.
I'll explain it a little bit more to you later, but it's not really important to them.
No,
to you guys.
I don't think you guys need to care.
So, but we had one seat empty, but I was looking around. I was like joking. I was like, guys, why are all the Japanese girls at those tables? Like, why aren't they here? Like,
where are the chicks, man?
Yeah, I was like, where are the girls, man? Like, I was obviously getting into it, and I was getting a little tipsy at this point.
Well, that would definitely make more why you would be more joking or be more into that whole thing.
And then one of the girls was 20 or 30 minutes late, and she sat down at our table, and I'll say it, you know, I'm not gonna think she's ever gonna watch this, but if she does, then she knows. I thought she was really attractive. She seemed really nice.
It's in a complimenting way.
Yeah,
it's not like you're gonna be like. It's not
she's
like you're gonna
smoking hot.
Yeah, no. It's gonna be like that ass no, like no. You can respectfully say someone is attractive.
So, but I was at the end, so this is gonna be hard to do. I'm gonna do it to him.
I think it's. I was gonna say. Oh, I do want to make the note. I think it's also important to the story that you also do find someone attractive. Because if you ever find anyone attractive, anything like this is more embarrassing.
Yeah, like that's why. Okay, so I'm at the end of the table. The other Japanese student, the male, is right here. There is person from my school, person from my school, person from my school. My Japanese teacher is next to the guy that is sitting next to she's sitting next to the guy that's sitting next to, or no, she's sitting next to the Japanese guy on the other side of the table. Empty seat, and then filmer guy. Mm-hmm. So that empty seats gets filled. And then about 1 hour through the night, I was talking to the guy across from me the entire time. And eventually, I think I mustered up the courage because of alcohol to have the person that I was sitting next to be like, "Hey, can you switch with me?" Because I actually did want to talk to her because I wasn't able to talk to her because she was like really kind of far away and she was really quiet. So I ever switched with me. She's like, "Why do you want to switch?" And I was like, she's
why?
Like, oh.
Why do you think?
So I switch. I start talking to her, and I was like, "I didn't catch your name again. What was your name again?" And she said her name.
That's good. That's always a good start. I didn't catch your name. It's always a great way to start a conversation with someone attractive.
And so then she tells me about her major and all that, and there's like a picture because at this point my Japanese teacher is drunk. Like she is drunk, and she steals the camera of the person that's just switched spots with me. Took a picture. I'm like I was like really interested. And because I was leaning in too because she was really hard to hear, so I was like leaning in and I looked really interested.
Yeah, that's like very inquisitive looking.
Yeah. So I was like, oh, that's like because that's so cool because she's an economics major and all that.
Yeah.
However, I don't know what order the events of this happened because I was drinking alcohol and this is all so embarrassing to me. I don't want to remember the timeline of it.
Oh, but that's how you learn from it.
Yeah. So what happened? So at one point, the bartender that I ordered my drink from, he put the drink down, but I didn't see him put it down because I was already leaning in like this, and I still couldn't hear. So I leaned in more, and the drink literally just spilled all over the table.
Oh.
And she was like, "Oh my god!" And she starts laughing. I was like, "Oh my god, I'm so sorry." And I start like using like 500 napkins to clean this up because I don't have a rag.
The panic napkin.
Well, because there's nothing else.
Always the worst.
Well, because there's nothing else to clean it up.
I
with.
know, but like, there's a way to do it. Like you're like, oh, okay, just let me. Let's like, or
Well,
but like when you're like, because like especially when you're embarrassed, you're like, shit, and you just like throw it.
So like I said, I don't remember the timeline of which this happened, but some point my Japanese teacher was like, "Hey Nick, aren't you trying to find a Japanese wife while you're in Japan?" Literally right to her. So like I'm the Japanese teacher. He is the girl, and she's like, "Hey Nick, weren't you trying to find your Japanese wife while you were in Japan?" And I was like,
God.
"No." Like, and she, like, the girl could clearly tell that I was really embarrassed, and she was laughing really hard. Like, I was like, I was like this. I was like, no. I was like, I tried explaining it was a joke. Didn't work because my Japanese teacher was talking over me, of course. She's like, "Oh, that's so cute. You think she's really cute and all that." And I was like, and no, I don't know if she ever said that, but she was like insinuating that I thought that she was attractive, and she was asking the girl questions like, "Oh, how old are you?" And she said 21, and then she asked me, I was like 21. She's like, "Oh, okay." Like, she starts clapping her hands. She's like, "There you go." And she's like, and then she asked us both if we were single, and we both said yes. And
for you ladies,
God damn. It was an interesting night to say the least. I did feel bad for her because she was being kind of pushed onto me. But so I did apologize to her.
But it was also in a joking manner as well.
No, it wasn't. I'm telling you, like 100% the truth. It wasn't because not only she was probably did it because she thought it was drunk, but she like because she's from Japan, like she thought it was the most adorable thing that I thought that Japanese women were attractive. And I said that if there was an opportunity, if I ever came back to Japan and I fell in love with somebody, there would be the possibility that I would marry them. And I said that because you never know, right?
Well,
and she said, "Oh, that's so adorable," and all that. And so then at the end of the trip, we bought her a gift, and then she wrote us all thank you notes. And then mine, they were written in Japanese, obviously, because that's so. She wrote my name in Japanese, which is Niku, and then she wrote arigato, and then she wrote each of us like a specialized kanji like message, and mine was the kanji to find love.
Oh my god.
She was literally fucking with me this entire trip, and that's where it all started from. I actually forgot to mention that she made the girl add me online, which is a messaging app that a lot of Japanese people use. So we still talk from time to time. She's still in school, so because Japanese schools go year round. So that was that. That was a really long story, but it was really worth it, and that is probably the funniest story. That's probably the funniest thing that happened to me in Japan.
That is so funny. I guess like when I heard it the first time, I didn't get how vigorous she was pushing.
She was pushing hard, like
and
straight.
I thought she was mostly just doing the joke, like when she's doing the clap, like yeah, you guys are totally in, like yeah, but like I didn't realize
maybe that's how it seemed to her.
I mean,
but to me, it was like hardcore. Like she's like, you guys need to get married. Like you guys need to.
I think she's probably mostly fucking with you. I want to say mostly, and I said I want to believe that because I definitely don't think she would think like I'm just gonna hook you up right now because I think it'd be one of those things.
Know.
But I think in part I think she would know that your professor may not be like super on on the full like to the joke, and I feel like she didn't understand it was partly a joke that everyone else was doing with you. But I think there was also a smart part of her that's like, ooh. I think there was a part of her though that did want to set you up.
No, I think that was partially her goal, and I think her goal was to get me to want to talk to her more, and that's what it is. I still talk to her. She's a really nice person, and and obviously like I do want to meet her again someday, and I also want to meet the other one again someday.
I want to meet everyone again.
Yeah, but
you just want to go there again.
I do want to go there again, so.
And I just want to go there once. This is the first time.
So the next day, so these next 2 days are we are going to be in Kyoto for the next 2 days. So we take the bullet train to Kyoto. Then we go. We take the Shinkansen, which is the bullet train. We eat a bento box, which bento boxes aren't hype, dude. Like straight, I'm telling you right now, bento boxes aren't that great because bento boxes are usually pre-cooked food and then
Ugh.
iced. So it could be you will literally be eating cold chicken, and it's not that fun.
Imagine not.
So it was a lot of rice, and I had there was like 2 pieces of chicken. That's all I ate, and it was gross.
Were you able to at least sit on this train, or?
Yeah, because the Shinkansen is it's like almost like you reserve a seat.
Oh, okay.
And it's like they can like recline, and they have Wi-Fi and like outlets and stuff.
Fun.
So.
Because I saw 3 hours, I'm like, oh.
Well, and then we take a 1 hour train to Nara, which is another area, and we go to the Fushimi Inari Shrine, and that was pretty cool. It was a lot of walking because we weren't able to. Or I should say, I wasn't able to, because we mailed our luggage to Kyoto.
Oh.
But I was originally told that you weren't allowed to mail your carry-on, which mine was a roll carry-on. So that entire day, I actually had to roll my carry-on with me.
At least it was a rolling one, though.
But it was still a lot of walking.
I imagine. But it could have been worse if you had to carry it.
Yes. So then after the Fushimi Inari Shrine, we went to the Nara Deer Park, which is the deer park in Japan where there's just a ton of deer and you can feed them. And they're just walking around. It's really cool. And then we went to the Daji Shrine, which is a Buddhist shrine. Maybe we did the Fushimi Inari Shrine. I don't remember the order. If we went to a shrine and then we went to the deer park and then another shrine. I don't remember. But there's one Buddhist shrine where there's literally just deer everywhere because the deer just occupy this entire area.
That's really cool, though.
We went to dinner in Nara, and it was like a really traditional restaurant because we were in like traditional Kyoto. I think that was the one. It said Okonomiyaki, and I don't remember what that dinner was. So I don't remember what that was. So we go back to Kyoto, which is another hour train ride. Actually, no, it wasn't because we took the express train there or back, so it was like a half an hour. We stayed at the first cabin, which is the capsule hotel, which when you think of capsule hotels, you think of like pod. Yeah. But the first cabin is like the first class capsule hotels. So it's actually the only thing separating you is a curtain.
Oh.
And so it was a bigger room. I think it probably had like a king size bed in there. And like just like it had like a king size bed, then like probably like maybe like 2 feet of like walking space. Because it's just made for you to sleep in. So we slept there. The next day is day 11, so we are almost on like our last day. So
this had one of the things I was the most curious about, though.
What? The Zen meditation?
Yeah.
Okay, so we do the Zen meditation at the Shunkyon Temple, which at this point I didn't have to carry around my luggage all day because I found a locker in one of the train stations.
That's good.
So we did the Zen meditation, which is actually really relaxing. It was not like what I thought it was going to be. I thought I wasn't going to be able to meditate because I'm a really hyperactive person.
Well, I was going to say, because Zen Buddhism, when we learned it in my class, it was the thing that I was by far the most interested in. It's, in fact, the best exam I had. And I did not have great exams in this class. Philosophy's hard.
It is.
Anyway. But it was one of the most interesting things I had because... So one of the things I was curious at first is, what was all about Zen Buddhism that you learned while you were there?
Pretty much the guy that we learned, which was the head Buddhist at this temple, he spoke fluent English. He says he's spoken to many different schools. He says the main thing that you need to know about Zen Buddhism is that you need to get rid of your biases and stereotypes, because he says Zen Buddhism is really just about being able to think like everything in a critical way and just be a free-spirited, free-thinking person. And if you have stereotypes, that's actually cheating your brain into assuming things instead of questioning certain things. So he was saying that, because literally what every single person did as soon as they walked into into the Zen Buddhist temple and sat down is we crossed our legs. He's like, that's actually not something that Zen Buddhists necessarily teach anymore, because we're about, when we're doing meditation, we talk about being able to relax, and if you can't relax while crossing your legs, you will not be able to meditate. So he says that just being able to think freely and just be conscious of your thinking is one of the many things that go into Zen Buddhism. And he said making sure that you're not biased and you don't have these stereotypes in your head, because he said stereotypes are a way for our brain to just assume things instead of questioning what we have in front of us. And that's not necessarily meaning like racial stereotypes. That could literally mean like anything. Like you could just be told that something is bad for you, and you are just going to assume that that's bad for you because that's what everybody else thinks, instead of figuring it out on your own and making your own opinion based off of that. So that's what he really taught us, because we were only there for like an hour and a half, so it's not really much he could talk. And we did 20 minutes of that.
There's so much to learn about, yeah.
And 20 minutes of that, like 30 minutes of that was pretty much meditating, so it was really hard to...
Now, what was the position then? Like, because he noticed that, like, because he did mention, like, if you can't be relaxed cross-legged, then then we don't, like, it's not necessary. So what was kind of like, how do you kind of set people up as for meditation?
He said
just kind of like do what is most comfortable for you.
Yeah, he said we have chairs in the back. If you want to sit on a chair, you can lay down if you want. I did the half lotus, which is putting your foot like this. Your foot does go to sleep a little bit. So yes, I eventually just went like this, and then I put my foot up like that. Like, so I had one foot like resting like this and one foot on the ground. The main part about meditating is controlling your breathing, because because when you inhale, you are stimulating your brain, but when you're exhaling, you're actually relaxing your brain. So he said to make sure, however long you're inhaling, he said inhale for like maybe 10 seconds and exhale for 20. But if you can't do it that long, he said make sure you're always exhaling twice as more as you're inhaling, because you're relaxing your brain a lot more, and you're getting yourself closer to what your brain does automatically when you are at a sleep state or a near sleep state, which helps you relax your mind but not really have to go to sleep. And when you meditate, the purpose of meditating is to refresh your brain and to reset your body, but not actually have to take like a nap for like 2 hours. You can you can do 5-minute meditations, and like literally you just feel like amazing.
Yeah, I mean, because like that had been something, since I had been learning about it, I had been super interested in. So I was curious. Yeah, I was very curious about that, because so much of what like we were taught is like, so much of Zen Buddhism is based on the idea about like, it's essentially just that like we don't think of like, it's kind of like how it's just like nothing that we know exists, because it's like or we create essentially all of our existences. So like we have to, because like things like our self and like who we are is essentially constructed, and it's in the way of us being able to find not necessarily our true self, because that's actually very different, but it's actually just more to abandon the idea of what our self is, and to essentially just like reach this point in which like we of greater enlightenment, which is a huge thing with most Buddhism, a lot of Asian like religion and philosophy is about enlightenment, more like self, I guess, kind of growing, but like it's so much more just like reaching this greater enlightenment. It's been a while since I've taken the class, so some of the things have kind of left my brain, but that's kind of one of the things that did stick with me, was about like essentially just like removing all of these like these things that we like, things that we look at as needs, like things that where it's like, like everything, like what's a want, what's a need, like most things that we like, it's kind of just like Zen Buddhism is so much focused on like removing these things that we feel are needs but are truly wants, and essentially like removing those and getting to a point where it's just like we can get to ourselves to this spot where all we do is like we question, we are like, our minds are free and not bogged by what's bogged down by society. The system's keeping me down, man.
So that's pretty much what we did, and it was really fun. I actually enjoyed the Zen Buddhism, like meditating a lot. It was very relaxing, and it was really fun. It was really great to like refresh yourself, and kind of reset your mind after being in Japan for like 11 days. So
it's a lot of stuff to take in. So having that relaxation at the end, I imagine, was pretty nice.
So then after that, we went to Arashiyama. So, and where we did not go to the monkey park. I was really mad about that. But we're not going to talk about that. We went to the bamboo forest instead, which is actually really cool. It was just a forest filled with bamboo, and you got to walk through it. It was pretty. It was pretty fun. It was really peaceful. Um,
Yeah.
so, so then after that point, we had to take the 3 hour Shinkansen back to. We went to Ueno, so we actually had to take the 3 hour Shinkansen to Tokyo, and then about a 15-minute train ride to Ueno, which is where we were staying for the last two nights, because it was this night and then the next night.
Yeah, one
So
more night.
so that night we went to an ikiben, which I don't remember what that was either. The last couple nights I don't really remember what we had for dinner.
Yeah, I don't remember. I wouldn't know either.
I think no, the ikiben was the traditional Japanese restaurant where it was like 8 courses.
Ooh.
And it was like a 2.5 hour thing, and all of us were exhausted. And a lot of the food was different, and a lot of people really didn't enjoy it. I tried everything; everything was pretty good. So then we stayed at the Coco Grand Hotel for the next 2 nights, which is like a pretty high end hotel. Still small rooms. Had a Japanese spa, and it
Ooh.
didn't utilize it. I really wanted to, because I wanted to say like I used a traditional Japanese bath. But like it was just because both nights we were so tired afterwards. I was just like, I just want to sleep. So
I've been there. Yeah. I think many people. I mean, people get excited even here, where you just go to a regular hotel and it's like, oh, there's a pool, and then you're done with the day and you're so tired.
Yeah. So then the next day in Ueno, it was a free day for the first half of it. So I didn't really do anything on the free day. I had the responsibility of. I actually was given the responsibility kind of like suddenly. It was originally someone else's responsibility to organize and purchase a gift for our Japanese instructor for doing everything she did, because she literally did everything for us. Like she translated, she did all the organizing, she booked everything. So we wanted to get her a really expensive gift. So pretty much my entire time there, I think we had till like 2 o'clock. We bought a gift for her, and we bought 2 gifts actually. We bought a really nice necklace and set of earrings, and then a picture frame, and then we all signed the back in katakana, and we wrote like notes and everything. So I really didn't get to do anything on the last day, because I was just given the responsibility like 4 days before this, so I really didn't have much time to really kind of pick a time when I can go get the gift that we needed to get her. So I didn't get to go to anything like the Ueno Zoo, and I was kind of sad about that because I wanted to go see the panda.
Yeah.
I didn't get to go to any of the museums or anything like that. So then after lunch, I think we didn't go to the Toriko. I don't think we went to the Toriko festival. I think we went just straight to dinner. We went on this Japanese like boat, like, and on the inside it was like we like ate inside this boat, and we were in the Tokyo Bay area, and the main course was tempura shrimp, which they caught in the Tokyo Bay, which is really cool. Ooh. So I don't know if it was that same day or what, but it was really good food. It had a karaoke machine, and so that's where I kind of gave the gift to her, because they used the microphone, and we were all singing, we were having a good time. It was a really great way to end our last day in Tokyo, because it was just a really cool, because the sun was setting over the Tokyo Bay, and I got a lot of good photos of that. And then we were right next to the Rainbow Bridge, and we were right next to the NHK like headquarters, where they like all like the windows had like LCD screens on it, so they would like show pictures and stuff. It was a really great way to end the trip, and it just kind of like, I don't know, it was just really, really cool for us, because that's a really nice way to wrap everything up. And then the last day was our departure day, but we did have some free time before our flight, because our flight was at 5:30 p.m., so we did have quite a bit of time, even though we needed to get there at about, like, I think we got there at about 2:30. So we had quite a bit of time. We had to leave at, I think we left at noon, and then we got to the Narita airport at like 2:30. So I walked around Ueno for a little bit. I got some food in some places. I picked up some last minute candy for people. Had a crepe. It was great. Had like 5 crepes in like 12 days. So I was creped out. And then so we went from Tokyo to Chicago, and then we took a flight from Chicago to Milwaukee. And we actually arrived
again.
We actually arrived from Chicago. We arrived in Chicago an hour early.
Ooh.
So we were on the runway for about 40 minutes. Because there's nowhere open for us. So that was fun because we actually had tailwind, so actually cut our flight by 2 hours.
Oh wow.
So, but because we were going in headwind, it added like 2 hours. So that was my trip to Japan. That was only took us an hour and 40 minutes. And plus the 40 minutes of the last one we did.
Oh,
but that would have been like a 3-hour podcast of how it was going.
Yeah, we were not going at. We went much more at a better pace in this take.
I agree.
But
it's still going, isn't it?
Yes. You'll see it. Yeah,
okay. I'm getting scared.
Yeah, but you could see it always move at the end.
Do you have any other last minute questions?
Well, so I guess one of the biggest things I was mostly curious about was kind of like, I imagine you had some, because we didn't really talk about, like, we kind of look at, we would mention it as like, oh, well, like, if you go to Japan, you might have thought this, but what were some of your expectations going into Japan, I guess? I mean, apart from possibly finding your future waifu.
Which did sort of happen, but no. My expectation from Japan is I thought it was going to be a lot more crowded than it actually was. But that also could attribute to when we were going to certain things. They might have planned around that. I don't know. But anytime the train was super busy, it wasn't as bad as I thought it was. People thought, like, the train was really packed. But, like, I'm used to being in really packed areas, so to me it wasn't like as packed as I thought it was. Like, literally you would be pushed up against somebody like this for like, and you wouldn't be able to physically move, but you could move a little bit.
You've been to Warped Tour.
Yeah, exactly. So I guess that was one of my biggest things. Probably the thing that surprised me the most, like, were just the little things, you know? Like, because you're kind of expecting the big things to be different, but, like, the little things are the things that really kind of stick out to you the most, in my opinion. Like, the garbage can thing. Like, I didn't mention this. I mentioned this in your video, but not in my video. There's no garbage cans on the streets of Japan, but they also don't have a littering problem. Because you either don't have garbage with you, or you are expected to bring it home with you, or there are sometimes garbage cans in, like, the stations, or in restaurants. So if you can find one of those, you can throw it away. The other thing is that when you are at a store, they usually have like a shelf above the counter that sticks out, and you put your bags there for like stuff you've already bought or your purses. And like, I thought that was like the coolest thing. Cause like, I was like, why don't we have that? You know, I was like, that's like one thing that, like, it's not like, cause you're supposed to think objectively. You're not supposed to think one thing is better than the other. You're supposed to think, I guess that's that's subjectively.
Yes.
So you're supposed to think subjectively, and you're not supposed to think one culture is better than the other. But stuff like that, where it's like, we don't do something and they do, to me that was just the coolest stuff. Because like, I was like, why don't we have that? Because like, if I'm shopping at like different stores and like I have bags, like I have to either put them on the counter, and then I have no room to use use money.
Yeah. Because
how they do money is different in Japan. I talked about this in my last video. So they need that space, but also it's less clutter, and it's just a lot nicer to do that, I think.
You still get coin purses as a prominent thing in Japan.
But it's just the small things like that that stuck out to me the most, I think.
So I mean, out of the really the big, like, very touristy areas versus like the like kind of smaller, out of the way areas, like, which ones did you kind of find yourself finding more enjoyment out of? Because like, we all look at like the places like, Ikebukuro and Akihabara, but like, as like, oh, like those are the places you really want to go. But like, did you think like you enjoyed that as much as you thought you would, or did you maybe like enjoy the smaller places a little bit more?
I think I kind of went into it like not thinking of. I wasn't really excited for one thing. I was just excited for the experience. But like, in my opinion, like, I do think that like probably my favorite like place to go was the Meiji Jingu Shrine in, I think that was Shibuya or Harajuku, and that was just because like it was just so massive, and like there's some places that you go that you just can't look up videos and pictures of because literally like you have to be standing there to understand like the scale of something. And that's the thing that really blew me away was like the scale of some of the torii gates and stuff like that. But I think I did enjoy my time in Kyoto, but I think I enjoyed my time in Tokyo a lot more because I don't live in a city. So
Yeah.
to me that's just like a new thing. Like
Yeah.
so in general, because there's people that liked Kyoto more that lived in a city, but I lived in the countryside most of my life, so those smaller off the beaten path kind of things are what I was used to doing already. So I guess the more touristy areas were the ones that I enjoyed the most.
Okay. Yeah, because I wasn't sure if that would like if it was gonna be like it'd be like it's like yeah, but that's all the stuff that like I've seen a bunch of times. Like it kind of
Yeah.
like I mean like I kind of felt like it would be one of those things where it's like it's really cool to be there. Like not that you don't like it, but like when it's something new. But I think you have a valid point. Like there's not gonna be though like sure the villages are gonna or something that's like more rural is gonna be pretty rural. It's not like it's not like you went into an area where like you're just like you're in the backwoods.
Yeah, I think probably the coolest thing though, the reason why I like the Meiji Jingu, like I think it was that whichever was in Harajuku. The Meiji Jingu, I think it's a shrine or a temple. I don't remember. Um, the reason why that's such a cool area, and I think I appreciated these a lot more, is when literally you walk off the station, you take a right, and like it's straight up just city, and then just boom, temple, woods, shrine. Like it's like it's just like this straight like there's in like a fading. It's literally a straight cut to like this area that's we there was just straight up woods and just a shrine, and you don't really think of that when you think of Japan. And I think that's why I enjoyed it the most is because it had a little bit of both. It was like in a big city, but then it also was like this like kind of off the beaten path. I forgot to mention that we went to Yoyogi Park, and we witnessed a proposal that day. So that was really cool. And then we also witnessed five weddings at that one shrine, traditional Japanese weddings. And then one more thing I do want to mention is that probably another one of my most memorable experiences was when we were in Kyoto when we went to the shrines. It was a lot more kids trying to practice their English.
Oh yeah.
So they would have assignments that they would have to do. Where they would have to go up to foreigners and ask us questions. And I was one of the people that actually got asked a lot of the questions. Like I feel like they were more comfortable coming up to me, or I don't know what it was, but So one of the shrines, like literally, it's a group of all of us, and I was off. Like I went to the bathroom, I come back, and like all these kids are kind of like looking at me, and I waved to them, and they like all came up to me, and like it was a group of 6 of them, and they start asking me questions, and to me it's really humbling because they get the same reward that I got when I would speak a little bit of Japanese and someone would understand it, because that's like the most rewarding thing. And to them, like for me to understand what they were saying to me in English, to them was like a really cool thing. And like they were really and like I was helping them out like with their assignment. Like if they were having trouble, I would like look over their shoulder and I would like tell them the word, even though it was in katakana, they would have trouble saying it, so I would help them out. And then that one group of kids in particular, most of the time, like how it would work, they would ask us the questions. They would need our picture for validation because I guess some of these kids are probably sneaky enough to fake the answers. And
I guess
then, they would give us a piece like an origami thing, like a little origami thing. And usually they would give you like one, but like these kids gave me an entire box of origami. Like it was really well made too. It was and it would just like kind of blew me away because like I don't know if they just didn't understand the assignment and they were supposed to give away one.
Yeah, I don't know if I'd make that through that one dry or not.
But because like I don't know if they were only supposed to give me one and they just gave me the whole box, or if they really just wanted to give me the whole box.
I don't know.
But still, I have that box still in my room, and I have all the origami. I made sure to keep all of it, so
yeah,
it's really well made, and that was to me like the one of the coolest moments. That wasn't embarrassing.
Yeah.
Because it was just really humbling because I'm trying to learn Japanese and it's really hard to speak to people, and if you and if you don't know if you're saying the right word, and then you don't want to like, but if they when they
Yeah.
understand what you're saying, it's really rewarding, especially like if it's a word that you're not comfortable like speaking, like if it's a new
Yeah.
word that you're trying to use. So I did want to make sure to share that with everybody.
And it's always like it's nice when it's in that situation where you're both, especially like when you're really both like trying to like
Yeah.
really learn instead of like, you don't come to like an American in the U.S. and they're like, well, learn English.
Yeah. I mean, because like, well, I mean, English is like I
Yeah.
don't want to sound ignorant, but like English is like the lingua franca of the world.
Well, it is.
So like
but
it
at
is,
the same time,
but yeah, but still at the
it's
same
hard
time,
as fuck.
it's hard to learn. Yeah, I agree, but I'm just saying like it's really like I don't know, it was just really humbling.
Well,
for me.
it's one of those where you like I think it really brings into like your spectrum that it's like especially because like sure you come here like in America you can walk around and you'll see like you'll see families talking to each other in Spanish and whatever. Maybe you don't know that, but like when you go to this completely new country and like they're bringing this fact like while especially at the same time when you're trying to learn, like they come to you with like not knowing English and really wanting to like almost like they're kind of like bending on you kind of like for like reinforcement on their English. It's like I think that's what it does. It just brings like that. It brings that spectrum. It's like that's right. Like people are also learning something that I know. Like you have this like it's pure like it's that pure version of empathy.
Yeah.
Where you know exactly how they feel.
And it definitely, I think that moment really wanted me to continue learning Japanese. Like that was the moment where I was like, I really want to keep learning Japanese because if these fucking kids can learn English, I sure as shit can learn Japanese. But also it was like it was really, I realized like how rewarding it actually is at that point, and people were like making fun of me and stuff like in my group, like haha, like oh look at Nick, he's super proud, but they probably only came up to them because you're short and they're used to short people here. But it was still like a moment that I was just like,
of course they went there.
But it was really just probably one of the most like humbling experiences that I had, and yeah, it just makes me want to just go back even more. I want to continue to learn Japanese and continue to try to learn as much as I can because it's just like and the thing is that I was impressed by the level of English that they had, especially at that age, because they're elementary school kids, like they're no older than probably like 10 or 11 years old, and they're able to read sentences and they're able to speak them well, and so that just kind of was just like, well, like I was just super happy for him. And
so to be fair, it is much easier to learn a foreign language at a younger age than an older age. To be fair. To be perfectly fair.
But it also then people would compliment me on my Japanese, even though I don't speak Japanese that well at all. Like I just don't know a lot. But still,
and you have been a little bit known to get to be pretty lacking in the pronunciation.
That's names,
but that's mostly name. Well, I mean, all words are like all things can be names when you put a noun to it.
But also you have to remember the context of when I'm trying to pronounce those names at 7 o'clock at night.
I know. It's just it's one of those things where it is especially I feel like I have also like when you're unfamiliar with maybe when you're a little bit unfamiliar with the even when you were reading this and you couldn't really remember some of them, you still were much better than where maybe you were at the beginning of the semester.
Oh yeah, for sure, and that just comes from practice. So
yeah, I mean you know. If you had to do that again, I think you would be much better than the way where it was at the beginning of the last time you had to do it. But you don't have to do it ever again. So.
No, I'm good.
We'll never know.
Unless if there's anything else you want to ask or add, then I think
I think that was a good note to end it on.
All right, so guys, thank you so much for watching this podcast. If you are interested in it, please let me know because I put a lot of work into this. Coming here, we drove an hour for our collab and it was a lot of difficulties, but if you really did enjoy, please let me know. It does mean a lot to me that even if you were able to learn something about Japan, it means a lot that I was able to pass my knowledge on to somebody else. And if this wasn't your cup of tea and you've been skipping around, don't leave yet because I have more videos that are going to be shorter and more informative to come. So if you want to learn more tips, more places you want to see, and just other stuff about Japan, like stories, pictures, all that, make sure to keep it here at Confident Video, because I will be doing that over the next month or two, because I have so many videos I want to make, and I can't all fit that in like a 1 week period, because I have other things I need to do. So, and then Anime Munos is coming up, so that's obviously going to take priority over my Japan videos. So, but if you do like the Japanese style content, please, like, if you do really enjoy it and you're new here, please hit that subscribe button. I do other videos like this if you are new. Not like this, but I do other discussion-based videos, kind of about creating content professionally, in a professional way, and also I do convention stuff, like anime convention stuff. So if you are new, please hit that subscribe button if you did enjoy, and remember, guys, I don't have a huge ego. I'm just pretty confident. Peace.